that matters in the political space. Political Roundtable. Let's talk politics. Let's talk Nigeria.
All right, it's time for Political Roundtable on Mainland 98.3 FM. My name is Sahid Fuhad. It's full house this evening. Yes, the table is full. The roundtable is complete this evening. We have Barrister Curtis Adigba in the studio with us this evening, looking bright and sharp. He looks well rested. Nice to have you in the studio, Barrister Curtis.
Thank you so much.
All right, we have Joseph Olorunshoro seated in the studio with us. Joseph, how are you doing?
Oh, thank you very much. I'm fine.
It's a big surprise that the line is already, the phone is already ringing.
Maybe they won't talk to Barrister.
well, maybe he wants to talk to Barrister Curtis. Well, Nuruddin Adigbenu is also here with us in the studio. He's also looking very bright. I think it's a rainy day out there, but I think traffic is a bit, even on a Sunday evening, it's a bit on the high side. But it shouldn't stop us from having a brilliant conversation, because again, this is the time to continue to talk about the interest of Nigeria. And like I promised even before the elections, our Political Roundtable will be a platform to set the agenda, to get constructive conversations going. And that's what I think we've been doing. And this evening, we're going to do the same thing. We have two issues on the roundtable this evening. We have, of course, I think the most important issue out there, the recently passed supplementary budget by the National Assembly, N819 billion supplementary budget. We have SERAP, talking tough, asking questions, doing what they are supposed to be doing as a civil society organization. And we also have well-meaning Nigerians who have also joined the conversation, questioning the sharing formula of that particular amount, at this time where a lot of Nigerians have been told by the government to tighten their belt, to bear with the government, to endure the pain for a prosperous future. And so we have a supplementary budget that has just been passed, restructured actually, 819 billion naira. And so the question is, look, are there questions around the sharing formula? SERAP is not happy with the sharing formula. In fact, they've called for a reversal of this particular supplementary budget. And there are Nigerians who have also questioned the decision of the government to spend this particular money this particular way. So we're going to be asking ourselves on the roundtable this evening if we should go for a reversal, should call for a reversal of that particular budget, or we should amend it in terms of how the monies have been shared or appropriated. Permit me to use that word. Or we can just all agree that, I don't know what my analysts will be saying, whether they all agree that the government is in order. We're going to go into the details of how the money has been shared, And then the second issue would be about the almighty ministerial list of the president. I'm going to go into the reason why we've been talking about this particular ministerial list, because there are people who think, oh, why are you bothered about a ministerial list? We've always had ministerial lists from government from 1999 till date, and nothing has really changed. But the reality is that, look, there are a lot of things that stops at the desk of ministers in Nigeria. The federal government is such a very powerful level of government, and that is why we have continued to focus on why the president, who promised to hit the ground running, and to a great extent, he's been doing a lot to indicate that indeed he wants to hit the ground running. And one would think that, look, one of the ways to hit the ground running is to have your cabinet ministers out on time. The law says 60 days. We have less than 20 days to go. But again, we're asking ourselves, a president that has hit the ground running, quote and unquote now has a burden to present his ministerial list. So the question is, what could be delaying the president? Is it politics, or is it still trying to dot all I's, cross all T's, and ensure that we're going to eventually see people who understand what it takes to be ministers? Is that the reason why it's taking its time? So that will be the question this evening. But let's just go straight to business. The first issue on the round table. The National Assembly last week Thursday, precisely, passed an amendment to the N819.5 billion 2022 supplementary budget. The breakdown of the amended supplementary budget showed that, look, Nigerians have been demanding for palliatives are going to get 500 billion naira. Not all Nigerians now, according to 12 million households, not even 12 million individuals. 12 million households will be getting 500 billion naira shared amongst them within a period of 6 months, and the calculation basically is that, look, 8,000 naira per month would go to each household, and what the government is saying that, look, with 12 million households, they will be able to target about 60 million Nigerians with their particular sharing formula. But let's quickly look at the breakdown of that supplementary budget. That's 819.5 billion naira. We have 35 billion naira going to the National Judicial Council. We have 10 billion naira going to the FCT administration for critical projects. We also have 70 billion naira to support working conditions of National Assembly members. And I think that has been the biggest of it all. 70 billion naira to support working conditions of National Assembly members. It would be nice to see what my analysts will be saying on that particular one. Like I said, part of that money, 500 billion naira, to cushion the effects of petrol subsidy removal. We also have 185 billion naira to alleviate the impact of flooding on road infrastructure. Yes, there was a lot of roads that were damaged as a result of the flooding of last year, so one would assume that this particular money goes into that. And then you have 19.2 billion naira to ameliorate destruction of farmlands by flood. So that's the breakdown. But SERAP is questioning this particular sharing formula, and SERAP is not alone in this particular one. Nigerians have also been asking the question. But SERAP has done something, Barrister Curtis, Joseph Olonso Nuruddin. They are saying that, look, we should pay attention. Apart from this particular amount, 70 billion, there are other monies already allocated to the National Assembly for the purchase of vehicles and all of that. And I quickly want to dig into that so that we can have a clear understanding of what is going on. You know, SERAP has revealed that, look, the 9th Assembly already passed a budget that captures a whooping amount of 40 billion naira to buy vehicles. This is not added to the 70 billion naira to buy vehicles for the National Assembly. You know, and so what they are saying is that if you add 40 to 70, they already have about 110 billion, around 10 billion naira, apart from their normal budget, which is about 219 billion naira. You know, so this is not added to what the assembly appropriated to itself
by this commission,
by its own commission. And we must also say that, look, you know, there was this back and forth in 2022 when the budget was to be passed. The budget was going to move from in 2015, basically we're roving around 150 billion naira, but in 2022 the president has submitted 134 billion naira. While, you know, the deliberation was going on, the National Assembly increased its own budget to 169 billion naira. But eventually, when they were going to pass it, they increased it again to 228.1 billion naira. So that is what SERAP is saying, that they have that already. They have about 40 billion naira to purchase vehicles, luxury vehicles for themselves. In fact, armored vehicles, bulletproof vehicles, 2023 model for themselves. And now, at this period where Nigerians are groaning, where Nigerians are suffering, where the government is actually telling them to bear with the government, to endure the process for a brighter future, a more prosperous future. You have all of these largesse, this humongous amount are being set aside for, you know, people of I think about 400 and something, you know, to spend. So let's just go straight to the first issue on the table. Again, we ask ourselves, is the government right? Are they on the right path? Are we overstating this issue? Are we over-focusing this issue? Or we don't just understand the pains that goes with the workings of government? Because again, what the 70 billion, I like the way they've put it, to support working conditions. Maybe as journalists, as political analysts, as people on the other side, we really don't know the stress, the rigor that comes with working in the National Assembly or working in government.
I know.
So
Some of them trek from Lagos to Abuja every day.
but on a very serious note, Barrister Collins, I'll appeal to you to come close to the microphone so that we can have a brilliant conversation this evening. Now, I'll start with you, Barrister Curtis. I don't want to waste time because, again, we're going to try and open up the phone lines enough for our listeners to also be a part of the show. Don't worry, we're streaming the show live. We are live on Facebook, Mainland FM 98.3. We are live on Facebook, Mainland FM 98.3. We are also streaming the show live on YouTube, Mainland 98.3 FM. So if you want to see the face of Barrister Curtis, you want to see Joseph Olorunso's face and Nuruddin, you can join the show live. And also drop your comments. Just like last week, I'm going to be reading a lot of comments from our social media platform, as much as we're also going to give time to our listeners to call in. So again, we are streaming the show live, Mainland FM 98.3 on Facebook, and then on YouTube, Mainland 98.3 FM. I think we've also given out the issues of the day on the Facebook platform. You can read it and then, of course, drop your comments. We'll take it. So, Barrister Curtis, I'm going to start with you. Do you think about an amendment? Do you think we should reverse this? Or do you think that, look, really, the working conditions of people in government requires them to get these kinds of money?
You know, sometimes I get so tired about talking about these issues. And for the simple reason that you keep talking and talking and talking, and then hoping that one day
things will change.
Somebody will hear you, or somebody will develop a conscience and do what is right for the people. See, governance is not about those in government. They are supposed to benefit from it while serving. But in Africa, and this is not about Nigeria alone, democracy is beginning to look like organized crime, whereby a group of people will band together, snatch power, and take all the power can afford. And I'll give you an example. In 2022, we had President Biden propose some level of palliatives for Americans. He called it the Build Back Better.
Build Back Better.
Now, in that program alone, every woman or parent with a child that is between age 1 to 5 was paid $300 per month.
All right.
And for a child that is 6 years to 17, $250 per month. This is in addition to things like food stamp.
The food stamp, yeah, food security,
stamp, social security payment, and others. Because they understand that government is not about those in government. It's about looking after the most vulnerable people in the society. That's what the government... The only reason why people surrender their rights collectively to some individuals to manage is because of the trust and confidence they have that those people in turn can look after them. But what we have done, look at the issue of pension and gratuity in this country, for instance. I'm coming to the main point.
To the main point, yes.
My parents served for 35 years and retired. They died in penury. Other than the fact that we, their children, were helping out. Somebody serves with ultra comfort and luxury. 8 years as governor. His accommodation is provided. His vehicles are provided. His clothing are provided. When he's leaving, he pays himself billions as severance package. And then he gets periodic vehicles, armored vehicles, provided for him, and he gets his pension and gratuity. Why the civil servants who labored for 35 years cannot get his pension or gratuity? That's the kind of country we live. And this is what is showing up. I had an interesting conversation with a friend recently, and he said something to me. He had a son who is being delinquent, misbehaving and all that. And the father said to him, I can tell how you are going to end up in life. And you know what he said to the father? He said, Daddy, don't worry, I'm going to the National Assembly. That's where we all make it.
It's a business.
That's the mindset. A country where the biggest business in town is government. can never make progress. You see people who are just canvassing for votes just now, some of them raggedy cars who can carry
with borrowed cars. Yeah.
As soon as they go to the National Assembly, millions begin to flow. I don't know if you have heard this, but I will tell you, Nigerian banks are competing among themselves to advance millions of naira
to politicians,
to members of the National Assembly.
That is normal usual.
No, that's what happens. So now, we thought that with the coming on board of this new government, there was going to be a break. No wonder former President Obasanjo last week said
something like this. Yeah.
Members of the National Assembly fixing their salaries and emolument is immoral. Now, you are giving 12 million households 500 billion. It translates to
over 6 months. Yeah, 8,000 naira.
8,000 naira per month.
Yeah.
Less than $10. Less than $10. That's what it means. Let's assume that the household has just father and mother, no children. And a liter of fuel is almost 500
naira per liter.
They go to the same market, mind you, they have to take transport. They buy food the way the big man too buys. What kind of conscience do these people have? 469 people, individuals, 360 in the House of Reps, 109 in the Senate, appropriated to themselves 70 billion.
I did a quick calculation, Barrister.
It's almost 40 billion or 140 something billion, like million
if they share it equally, it's about 140 something million.
No, but the senators will get more.
If they share it equally.
Yes.
But at least
what kind of wickedness will influence such a decision? What do they think about the other Nigerian? Is it a crime to be an ordinary Nigerian? Or is it a crime not to be in power? What do they think? What do they take us for? And this is why I'm saying democracy in Africa is an organized crime. They go there and loot the people blind. And then they come back again and beg for their vote. And when they can't get the vote, they rig themselves into power. This has got to stop. Whoever is listening should tell the president, this is immoral. This is evil. That a few persons will sit down in addition to other money they have allocated to themselves.
If I do a list, I'm going to inflate Nigeria.
You understand what I'm saying? This is the same. Remember when the decision was taken to monetize the benefits of National Assembly members to provide accommodation, give them money to buy houses, give them money to buy their cars. Yet we are still providing cars for them after collecting that money.
There's a 40 billion.
This has got to stop. And the reason why they can do this and they keep doing it is because they know Nigerians don't have the courage to fight. With all that SERAP is doing, what has come out of it?
I said, look,
nothing.
I just discovered that
because
that's the best they can do.
SERAP do not have the support of the critical mass of the country to say, look, we will support you. Nigerians are still making excuses. In fact, when you go to the social media, you remember our encounter.
There was a banter this morning.
Earlier today.
Yeah.
One guy said, if you go to some parts of the country,
people need the 8,000.
People will queue up for 1,000 from
politicians. That was what he said. Yeah.
And I'm saying to him, it's total ignorance to compare a politician to government. The politician is holding resources that is personal, that he controls.
To him,
Government agents are holding the resources of the people. So you cannot say because the politician is giving out 1,000, the government should also give out 1,000. And I think that the government at all levels in this country must wake up. They must wake up. It's too much.
All right. Barrister Curtis, just to buttress what you have said about what you call the social contract between the government and the governed. Section 12(2) B of the Nigerian Constitution of 1999 as amended provides that the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of what? Government.
Are we talking of security now? Is there security for anybody?
We're even talking about the welfare now. We are
talking about food first. Forget the security.
So that's why I said the welfare starts with food, clothes, and shelter. And I think the most important is even food now. Nigerians just want to eat. Joseph Folonish, I'm going to come to you, Nuruddin. Again, if I try to do a B, it's going to get us, talking. Really, like I said, we've had a situation where there have been questions. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo questioned the idea of the National Assembly members, giving themselves money, we've had situations of padded budgets and what have you, And like I said, even in 2022, they kept increasing their own budget. It started from 134 billion as proposed by the president, and then they moved it to 169 billion. Eventually, they passed 228.1 billion naira, and added to that, there have been several provisions to them. Yes.
I needed to make. Did you hear them quarrel? Did you hear National Assembly members quarrel about their own palliatives?
Or talk about religion?
No. Or party differences?
No.
Did you hear about that? But the one that concerns the poor man, the 500 billion.
There are issues already.
The governor of Kano has said the North will not accept what is being proposed for them.
Yes. The list.
Yes. Because you see, at the end of the day, even the 500 billion will not get to the people who need it.
You see, again, there's a national social register. I'm sure Joseph Roncho knows.
Maybe is he under your custody?
No. We are told that there's a list already. There's a social register, and that's what is causing the chaos, the crisis again. That it still tells on one side. People have said there's a list. I think in one of our shows we even got an attack as journalists from one of our listeners who say, "Look, we don't do our research."
There's a list.
Yes, that look it was implemented in
who are doing conditional cash transfer
right
now, but there are problems with that list.
I'm going to get to that. I'm still going to get to that.
There is no administration that doesn't have list.
So that look, it was done in Ekiti, and that look, he succeeded in Ekiti and all of that. But Joseph Olorunsho, on a very serious note, how worried are you that at this time in the life of the ordinary Nigerian, by Sarkozy just said, is it a crime to be an ordinary Nigerian? I remember in one of our shows, he said we should define who the common man is. We should have a clear definition of who the common man is. The question is this: do you think that the government is in order? Do you think a reversal is what we should call for, like SERAP is saying? And I think SERAP is saying that we could go to court to challenge this on the issue of social contract. On the basis of social contract of the government and the governed. What's your take on this?
Well, I think it wasn't not a barrister that were on through the phone.
Through the phone,
he
yeah.
said Nigeria live by movement. I think it should be
he was.
We're always a movement. The issue is this. Yes, if we get something wrong from at the very foundational level, there's no way we will not see what we are seeing now. Before 2023 election, there was rumor for us to have a census of Nigeria. Before the election, the government came up and said one excuse or the other, say they should do the census after election. And I was telling someone, I say, I've never seen a system whereby you have a project and you know that you are going to deal with human being. You will not say, okay, let me even get the number of people that I'm going to attend to. You now say, okay, let's do the project later. We now count the number of people. It's already you're already creating room for fraud. You're already creating room for not going anywhere. If Nigeria were serious, assuming we are serious, the first thing that we would have done, especially after we were passing through from 2015, that we have been surviving. A lot of people that are not lucky they are on the other side. Would have said, okay, let us even count the number that are remaining, so that we now know the incoming government will now know who the number of people they should plan for. We postponed that
process.
But definitely, despite that postponement, the system is social amount of money has been spent.
I think about
for pilot
study.
Yeah. So now the question is, in criminology, would say that anything you cannot measure, you cannot control it. There's no. Nigeria have been talking data. You know that we don't have the data that they have been telling us. In fact, if we subject them to
a proper
analysis, we don't have any
data to work with.
Then the question we need to now find out is, I think it's time for us to sit the president, the House of Assembly, the governor, the State House of Assembly member. We should sit with them and say, please, can you define to us what you people regard as government?
What exactly is government to them?
What did they mean by God? Because to me, what I understood from them is their own definition of government is government for us, by us,
and for themselves.
Because you cannot say, okay, you have such amount of money. The only thing you first do was 70 billion for yourself. 70 billion for yourself. You are now talking for them to even say
to help the working conditions.
Let's say working air condition, not even the working condition. For you to now say 8,000 naira for household, to me that you are just maybe I don't think they regard us as the household as normal
household, yeah.
No, normal human being, because
no, Joseph, I've seen people argue that look, Nigerians are so impoverished that look, for those of us who question this 8,000 naira, we are not even.
And that's a compliment to the government.
I don't know whether that's a compliment to the supporters of government. Yes, I'm with you. Yes.
Is it not a shameful
that we can even continue to say
for us to say a human being like you have one hand like you, one hand that have all the figure of creation of Almighty God. You now say that an individual, he will be happy to collect 8,000
as a household.
As a household,
if you break it down over 30 days, that's 266 naira per day.
And I can call it that a lot of those households will never even smell the color, or you cannot smell or perceive the color of that.
Nuruddin, again, for people who, for sake of proper conversation, I try to check through allocation of funds at the National Assembly. Sometimes you may, because again, like I said, maybe we don't really understand the workings of government. And so I was checking through the things they allot monies to, the way they spend this money, So I was looking through the 228.1 billion as passed in the budget and the way they've broken it down. And I was saying something like, look, 11.3 billion was appropriated for general service. What exactly that means, I don't know.
A euphemism for corruption.
Then National Assembly Library, ongoing. The building of the National Assembly Library, the ongoing, another 4.2 billion.
What about computers?
I'm going to get there. I'm trying to, so that we understand the way they share this money. So because it's an ongoing project, so I assume that it may still well be captured in the next year's budget if they don't complete it, Then hosting of Conference of Speakers of African Parliament, 127 million was allocated to that, to host the Conference of Speakers of African Parliament. National Assembly liabilities, it was not completely defined. 8.5 billion naira goes to that. National Assembly e-library.
Maybe they are owing.
E-library, 255 million naira goes to that. The National Assembly dashboard, 118.1 billion.
For their website.
Okay, for the web. Okay,
dashboard,
so, for the website. Okay.
Yes.
So 118.1 million goes to that. Then completion of National Assembly library complex. So I'm seeing the library appearing.
Appearing.
So 7.5 billion naira. It's a long list. The way the money was, So no, where are we really as a country?
Well, firstly, I will say this: Nigerians are in trouble.
Why?
From 1999 till date, we've been in trouble, but we are in greater trouble as at this period. The first thing there is this: I always look at antecedents of people first, so that whatever they are going to put out as behavior, I will be looking it from the angle of their personality.
You can predict it already.
Okay. Let me start from the Senate President, Gospel Akpabio. When he was a governor for 8 years, he was a spending governor. In fact, during his own time, he was the one that had the highest number of millions per square meter of the road that he constructed.
Kilometers, yeah.
From square meter. From square meter, not even from kilometer. That one is part one. Part two, when he was a minister, he was a spending minister. Even the ministry, we remember of the marking now. Now, let's now look at it holistically. If you have 70 billion plus the 40 billion that have been set aside before, 110 billion for 360 plus 109, and we have over 20 million out of school children in Nigeria.
Yeah.
We have over about 123 or 27 people with multi-dimensional poverty
about
in
133 million
Nigeria. About 133. So now it shows that this particular, and I told some certain people that are there to listen, I have one book about our president, about his leadership style, his skills, his mission on economy, and his year. And anytime I look at everyone, it's step by step. with his own style, he will never say no to National Assembly, and he will make sure National Assembly say no to him.
Does not say no to him too.
That one is one. Then two, with the issue of money on ground now, you had a prayer last week that you said we should not have a recourse, that we are going to say Buhari's government,
that we should not get to the point where we begin to
hail
that Buhari was actually
with the way we are going now in time of spending. Now, if you look at the number of days that this particular government have used,
and the pattern, the spending pattern,
is even worse than the one of Buhari's government. And when you look at the number of days, that one is one. Then another thing again that we need to know is this: you will not be thinking that all these senators, House of Rep members, now we did not hear PDP, we did not hear APC,
Labour Party, NPP, or
all of them,
Igbo,
the first package they get, in the first week, after they have their principal officers.
Yeah, I think there was a particular money given to them to settle down.
Nobody, everybody just keep quiet. In fact, there are some certain party members now, there are some certain House of Rep members saying that they are not even following whatever their party has put on ground now. It's whatever the National Assembly has put on ground.
We saw that in the voting pattern, yeah.
So, what is now important there is that we now look at it, that which kind of people, I have said it over time, in a country where the worst set of people that you have in that country are the one in the hands of affair. Such kind of a country can never develop.
Barrister Curtis, again, we can continue to look at these figures, and it will, of course, continue to give us that trouble minds. But again, we are putting all of this allocation of funds, because again, this is about the commonwealth of the people.
Yes.
This money belongs to Nigerians. You just said it. Against the call of the government for Nigerians to bear with them, we kept talking about that singular narrative of subsidy must go. That look, subsidy has to go, and that we're going to be saving enough money. I think from the figures from the oil sector guys, we are saving an average of 400 billion naira every month.
And what are we doing with it?
I'm going there. So if we juxtapose this spending pattern, this allocation of resources, as we have highlighted, against the call by the president and the presidency that Nigerians should bear with them, things are going to get better. Do you think that, look, the government is in any way, justifying, that call, or we are in a situation where, look, it's just the ordinary people out there that should suffer all of this, and then they just live larger than life?
That's the truth of the matter. What has the government caught at all levels of government? Can you tell me what they have caught? Is it in the waste, in the number of vehicles that accompany a governor or National Assembly member, or that of the president? Or is it in the amount or the number of aircraft that is they are flying all over the country for different visits and all kind of things? Look, let's tell ourselves the truth. I tell people this: the whole idea about the subsidy they talk about, there wasn't anything called subsidy. It was just corruption. We were subsidizing corruption.
Yes.
Some individuals were making trillions of naira. In fact, a former governor of Bauchi State, I think, what's his name now? Isa Yuguda. Said, look, some of his friends who were making so much money from the so-called subsidy, quote and unquote, even went to the president and said, it's enough, stop it. We are tired of making money.
We are overfed.
We're overfed. Listen, we have 4 refineries, I think 4 in this country.
4.
Between 1999 and now, government has expended $60 billion in trying to turn around these refineries. It started with Obasanjo. We know what happened. When he couldn't, just when he was about exiting power, he sold one of them to Dangote and Otedola. Unfortunately, that decision was reversed based on the information that was provided to late President Yar'Adua. Now, Jonathan came there. He started his own form of turning around. Again, nothing was turned around at a huge cost. And when President Buhari came, he even went as far as bringing a turnaround expert from Mobile, former Minister Ibe Kachuku.
Yes.
Oh, they promised again billions. But do you know what? The Buhari government that couldn't turn around the refineries and all the previous government that spent close to $60 billion. One government funded a Nigerian, Dangote, who spent between 16 to 19 billion to build the biggest refinery.
Single train refinery.
You understand what I'm saying?
I'm with you, Uncle.
So, how can you say you are subsidizing? They are not subsidizing. They were busy looting the resources in the name of petroleum subsidy. Let me tell you now, when you say the people should tighten their belts and make sacrifices, is there no duty on you too, as the leader, to show an example? What has changed in their own living style?
Nothing.
What has changed in their lifestyle? They keep asking Nigerians to make sacrifices, but they are not prepared to make the sacrifices. Former governor of Ogun State came out. If he didn't come out, nobody would talk about it.
We didn't even pay attention to it. That look.
He said, now I'm collecting better money. That small one, keep it aside for now.
They suspend it.
Suspend it.
Because of his conscience.
I can tell you, and of course, if you go to the National Assembly, it's a retirement house for governors.
I think about 18 of them,
Yes.
former governors are there.
You go there, they are all busy collecting. What kind of a country? You know, it's like overloading a sector of an electrical board while others have nothing to carry on. This is what's happening. The same set of people moving from one position to the other, and with all the largesse in the government. If they do not even fear human beings, don't they fear God? The way they are going, they should fear God at least. How can you keep this number of people? How can you hold down this number of people in abject poverty? But you know what they don't understand? The best house built in the mud is in the mud. That is why they cannot sleep like the rest of us now.
They can't even walk around like
Yes, because all they need. Look, these people travel abroad. You see them in major cities of the world.
Using trains, using public transport.
They can't provide the same thing for their people. If they had provided some of these things, do you know in the UK, at a certain age, you no longer pay for transport?
It's free.
It's free. School children of certain age don't pay. In the United States, under the No Child Left Behind policy of government
Scheme, yeah.
Secondary school, primary school, free. All you provide is lunch money for your child. Here they provide nothing, and they expect us to give everything to them. But you see, I don't blame them, and I'll tell you why. It is the Nigerian people. Until we are ready to tell them enough is enough, it will never stop. That's why these things will continue, because you see, when you talk now, people say, oh, yeah, because he didn't support this man. Oh, because he's a Muslim. Because he's a Christian. Yeah. What is the religion of poverty? Tell me.
He has no religion.
Or ethnicity.
Or ethnicity. Or poverty. Nigerians have not suffered it, and I'm praying to God, let them suffer more so they can have common sense.
Again,
there's another caption there that is surprise to me.
All right.
The one for people in Agric.
Yes,
say, the flood of last year.
Yes, the flood of I think two.
Yes,
about 185 billion to alleviate impact of flooding on road infrastructure.
No, 19 billion.
Then 19.2 billion to ameliorate destruction of farmlands by flood. Yeah.
Now, see, the farmer, when you talk about the farmers and the flood, are only just there are two. They are 5 and 6. What the farmer need now is for them to be able to go to the farm and farm without anybody coming with gun or machetes
security
to
for
keep them.
For the farmers.
So it's as if some of these people, you will see a problem, they will now go, they become like a comedian.
No, but for Joseph Folonshaw, while we were grappling with the announcement of this supplementary budget, the government also made an announcement through Dele Alake, the special advisor on communication and strategy, that look, the government is declaring a state of emergency, is declaring on food security. And of course, a number of things were highlighted. Part of what they said was also the provision of security for farmers. So I think they're also paying attention to that. But or you think it's not just about mere saying?
See, the former government have been saying, oh, I will make sure that every Nigerian sleep with his eye closed. And people did not. We're supposed to find out to define when the person die, he don't close his eye. A lot of people have been.
So when you say sleep with your 2 eyes closed,
Yeah. So we have to.
we should have defined it better.
We have defined it. You understand?
Whether to sleep.
Yeah, whether you are when you sleep with your 2 eyes closed. Because, for example, when things are very, very tough, there are some people now, even though they will lie down on the bed,
Yes.
they are thinking of school fees. They are thinking. Even sometimes they find it to close the 2 eye. When the brain is thinking, how do we get the food on the table for the family and the rest of them? For I be saying it here, that it is better when government says something, let them explain it.
You should ask more
They
questions.
should ask more questions, because to me, this administration is as if we are in deep trouble.
No, one thing there again is this: whether we like it or not, in the National Assembly, even the bill, financial bill that is coming from the executive too, there are some sub-headline they will give. Deliberately, they will cap it like that. But under it, there is nothing under it they want to use the money for. No, it's so obvious. Now, if you said you want to for the erosion,
Flooding on road infrastructure.
that one is for road. Then the one of the
Farmland that have been destroyed by farms. Yes.
by the farms, is it across the state? Is it across the state geopolitical zones? Because if you want to talk about the farm, if you want to mention from Benue, Plateau,
Anambra,
Nasarawa, down like that, down to the east, how are you going to share the money? And don't forget, the Oyo is still there, Ogun is there, even the Lagos, that the Epe Aziz of Lagos.
There are farmers there.
There are farmers too. So that means 36 states plus FCT Abuja.
I think they said farmers affected by flooding. Maybe not all farmers
Let
are
me tell you
affected by
one. Okay, wait. As we speak today, Bank Anthony Way, this Ikorodu road here, tell me which part of, we are talking about the one in the city. We don't know what is happening in Ekpe. We don't know what is happening in Ikorodu. We don't know the one of Badagry. One thing that is so certain is this particular set of people now, the National Assembly members. In fact, this is a town that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should change his style in the area of spending and the area of looking for people that will fill some certain posts. Is a kind of his leadership style is that he doesn't replace, he recycled, and that's why you have Femi Gbejabiamila be on the 6 times. After being the 6th and winning the 6th election to the House of, and when you still want to pick the secretary, still the same person. And I won't be, don't worry.
Chief of Staff.
Then another one, look at Akume. And this is his style. That's why you see that, go and see those people in Lagos here that are politicians.
Well, by Curtis, because we need to move to the second issue. Before, the composition of principal officers of this 10th assembly, before they settled in and all of that, and plenary started, one of the biggest conversations was for us to have a vibrant National Assembly. There was an argument between a vibrant independent National Assembly or a National Assembly that will be supportive of the agenda of the president. And I think on this table we took a position that, look, it is important for the National Assembly to be given the opportunity to choose its own principal officers, to allow them some form of independence, so that the principles of checks and balances that comes with the doctrine of democracy will be well captured and enhanced in Nigeria. What we have seen with the, I'll say this is the first or second activity that we've seen from this 10th assembly. Does it go back to that same argument of us having a vibrant independent National Assembly, or it's not really about that? These are just things that happen normally. We shouldn't be too worried about this 10th National Assembly.
Apart from the Saraki-led National Assembly that had specific,
which was the 8th,
vibrant,
yes, to grant with the president because EFCC put him on trial for corruption. Do you know any vibrant National Assembly we ever had?
But people, supporters of this government will tell you, or the APC will tell you that, look, the Saraki-led National Assembly was not vibrant. It was just disruptive. It was acting more like an opposition.
So what is vibrancy? Let's describe. Let's define what vibrancy is. I think people tend to think
vibrant and independent.
Here's the problem. The organs of government or the arms of government that we have are supposed to work in a coordinated form to project the interests of the people. And where that is not possible, one or two of the arms can then turn to be a defender of the people's
Of
right.
the people's right, okay.
That is the purpose of the National Assembly. The National Assembly holds the purse, the key to the purse, and they are supposed to checkmate the excesses of the executive. Because they are the ones directly representing the people.
Yes.
They come from different constituencies. Don't forget that the president has one constituency, which is the entire country.
Yes.
Because he has to be elected by the votes of all Nigerians across the breadth of the country, the width and breadth of the country. But no National Assembly member is elected by whole citizens. He or she is elected by a group of people within a particular constituency. So they represent their people. And the whole idea that, look, that they tend to promote their own interests and themselves, higher than those of the people who elected them, is where the trouble comes from. And it is in pursuit of that you hear people say the president needs to have a National Assembly, okay, that he can work with. Do you know the kind of National Assembly that the president cannot work with? The president does not have a choice in the National Assembly he works with. Just like he was elected, members of the National Assembly were also elected by their own people. Now, they need to identify specific causes that benefits the people and work towards it. It is in the disalignment of purpose that you have the executive working at a different purpose and the National Assembly is working. And let me tell you, some of the things you people refer to as vibrancy is nothing but show for money.
Fancy.
Because by the time they raise this issue and try to hold the executive down, they say, okay, let's just go and give them something so that they can cooperate with us. But it shouldn't be so. If the interest of the people is the predominant purpose of government, do you understand what I'm saying? And so this whole idea that the president must have a National Assembly that works with him, let me tell you, the National Assembly can show some level of subservience and still be very effective. It is not by coming on television to shout and call the president name that you are effective.
Just do their job.
Based on the Constitution. Look, the relationship between the National Assembly and the executive is constitutional. It's not personal. So you don't have to like me. I don't have to like you. But we can work together in the interest of the people. And this is why it is good that not only the National Assembly, all arms of the government should be vibrant and doing their job for the people.
All right. We're still streaming the show live, Political Roundtable, Mainland 98.3 FM. Again, we are live on Facebook, Mainland FM 98.3, on YouTube, Mainland 98.3 FM. Again, like I said, you can drop your comments. We're going to take it when we begin to take comments. We're still going to open the phone lines for you to be a part of the show. Again, Mainland FM 98.3 on Facebook, and then on YouTube, Mainland 98.3 FM. We have Barrister Curtis Adigba in the studio with us. We have Joseph Folorusho in the studio, and Nuruddin Adigbero. And almost the first half of the show, we've been talking about, the recently announced largesse or palliatives to ordinary Nigerians by the government and then to themselves, to majorly the National Assembly. But let's just go straight to the second issue on the table, and that's the ministerial list of the president. Tinubu's ministerial list is one that I think a lot of Nigerians have been expectant. There's so much anxiety out there. There's so much talk. We've talked, people have been saying that, look, Abuja has seen quite a lot of political activities, lobbying and all of that. But again, it's less than 20 days for us to, according to the law assigned, for the president to bring up a list and present it to the National Assembly for approval. You may not have seen it, but the list, of course, I'm talking about a particular list circulating on social media. Those who think that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not moving fast enough to appoint ministers are far to help. I think that's why they created their own list and put it on social media, maybe to put some form of pressure on the government. It's
also possible the government is testing waters to see how Nigerians will respond.
Not impossible if you understand.
To the names they're putting out.
Yeah, again, in communication strategy,
yes,
it can be that you look. Let's just throw a list out there, circulate it, and feel the pulse of the people. But again,
if it's under so much pressure from politicians, and he wants to see how Nigerians
will
react to
when the names eventually emerge, But again, the government has debunked the list. They said it's a fake list, and that look, Nigerians should relax. That eventually, the real names will be out. But again, we are not trying to, because I think last week I did a prediction of names that will probably emerge from the list when it's eventually. But a quick look at the list, you may want to dismiss or admit it. But again, we want to ask ourselves, why is the president taking this long to announce the names of ministers? One would think that, look, I'm sure some of the supporters of the president have said that, look, he's such a man that understands the workings of governance, that, look, within a week or two, you may just bring out his list. He's well prepared. It's a lifelong ambition. I think have even a lot of people have even accused me of saying it severally, that, look, the president understands the workings of government. He has this ambition, and that, look, but again, it's over 40 days, Barrister Curtis Adigba, and the president, who on the first day of assuming power, removed subsidy, announced the removal of subsidy, and made some also, what can go far-reaching decisions, floating the naira, and some other far-reaching decisions. And
floating the naira is far-reaching decisions.
I'm just, when I say far-reaching, depends on the way you see it, be negative or positive. But when it comes to governance, Barrister Curtis, you understand the powers of the federal government and the ministers, what you can call the cabinet ministers. Do you think it is politics, or the president is just taking his time, really, to give us a list that, can give us some glimmer of hope, something different from what we are used to?
In 2015, we waited almost 6 months, and different kind of lists were bandied around. The government came out and said, no, this is not our list. But you know what? At the end of it all, 98% of the names on that list
appeared.
It's not just
98%.
It's not just A.
It's for excellent A.
appeared on that list.
On that same list.
Now let me. I'm not an insider, so I don't know what the problem is
with the list.
But I do understand that it's under a lot of pressure. Majority of the governors who helped his cause in the north are fighting to be appointed ministers for one ministry or the other. And don't also forget that there was the group of G5 governors who are also putting him under pressure for one of them or two, most likely. Only last week,
99 cents.
The set of 99 went to him and said, "Don't forget, sir, we are here." Oh.
Class 99.
Yes, we are still here.
Came together.
And if you need experience, call upon us.
Anytime, any day.
Anytime, any day. And then, he also promised the women 35% in his government. The women leaders, 36 women leaders, led by the national women leader, also went to remind him to say, "Mr. President,
don't forget us."
Don't forget. And he said, "No, I'm not going to forget you guys." So you have all kind of interest collating and pressurizing the president. And that is expected, really. And this is where we want to see his political sagacity.
The ability to
it was Mario Cuomo, former governor of New York, who said politicians campaign in poetry, but they govern in prose. There's a difference between campaign and governance. Now is the time for us to see the governance. Because you see, like you said, what we heard before was that even on the day of his inauguration,
we should have his list.
His list for ministers will be ready. And they'll be going to the National Assembly.
That was the idea.
Forgetting that even then the National Assembly will not have been inaugurated. But of course, that didn't stop the list being ready. Because on the first day that leadership of the National Assembly emerged, the President of the Senate and the Speaker, depending on whatever he wants, could have announced that we have received.
You have a list already.
Yes. In fact, former governor of Ogun State, Benga Daniels, has gone forward to say he should even attach portfolio with the list.
With the list,
yes. So I think it's under a lot of pressure. But you see, what is important here is that the constitution of the country allows him this leverage. He can even wait until the last day of the 60 days to make his announcement. What I think what should be of critical interest to all of us should be the quality of men and women that he will ask to come join him and govern. Okay? that it is not a race to the bottom or a race to the rabbit hole. The same set of people with the same kind of people with mindset from 1999 that they have not even refreshed one bit. Those who see power only in what power provides for them and not what power can be used for. That's our hope. That if he gets it right, at least we can look at the list and say, okay,
there's a glimmer of hope.
Yeah, these are core professionals, and from them, if they work well, the country should make some movement forward.
Okay, Joseph Olorunsho, how hopeful are you that, look, yes, he still has less than 20 days, yes, to make this big announcement. But you know, Mr. Curtis has just said something, you know, core professionals. You know, are you hopeful that eventually the president will give us a list that we will see and say, okay, with these individuals, with these people of high intellect, high, you know, capacity, Nigeria should be on the path to prosperity again? Are you hopeful, or you have your doubts that it's still going to be the same of the same?
I have my down. The first thing, in the first point is the 60 days. To me, if I have to follow, it's not a law, because what would regard as law is this? They say the cost. If you violate that law, what is the consequence? There's a place in the Bible. Those that go to church, this is there somewhere in Ezekiel 18:20. They say the soul that sins shall die. You understand that? You now know that you should not sin so that you will not die. Let's assume after 60 days, the president did not name the minister. What happened?
Nothing will happen.
So it's not actually a law.
It's not an inevitable offense.
It's just like we just put something there and say this is a law that must be.
So are you saying that we may not even see the list?
No, we may not even, if we don't see the list, there's no consequence.
In 60 days.
Yeah, in 60 days.
But the law says 60 days.
What's the consequence before you regard that it's a law?
The law, it will not be impeached.
It will not be impeached, and so
it has the National Assembly that is friendly.
Okay, friendly National Assembly.
Even if it's not friendly,
they can't muster the number.
Fuad, I think we should be serious in this country. To me, if the president, I know that the president go across all the local governments, interact with people during his campaign. When you are doing that campaign, you should be having an idea of people. Yes, people that you will in one way.
Not across all local governments.
Yes, states. People that you will pick, so that we now say, okay, at least within 1 month, the president has about maybe he was able to nominate like 80% of the minister, which he can be updating maybe
from time to time,
some other time.
The list can even come in batches.
Yes.
You know.
So when it is as in 0-0, then again I said here that this is the first time President Bola Tinubu is playing at the international level.
That the states, you said it, that Lagos State is because like an amateur league.
It's like it's an amateur level. Because if you go to Abuja, you have to consider a person from the interest of people in maybe in Kogi. Even within the Kogi, they will not say this is the person that you are going to pick as a minister. The person, okay, look at what is happening in Rivers State now. There's going to be serious trouble for him because they are feeling that it is now between him and Wike is a member as at this moment. Wike is a member of the PDP, but it's as if the APC in Rivers State
is dead.
They are on their own. So it's only Wike that is featuring the team, and the rest of them. And to some extent, Wike may decide what will happen at that level. Look at my governor of Edo State, Lucky Gbenidi. Do you think at least looking for something? Leave the issue of
no, it could just be in solidarity.
No. A politician, Nigerian politician doesn't just. They are not for the Christmas. They are not for the Christmas. So they have interest. It's possible that him, Oshomole, the current governor, they will not be fighting who will make the list
from Edo State.
The same thing with Lagos State. The same with Ogun State. So the president is having all these things in his table. So to me is.
So you are not hopeful that we are going to see a list devoid of political interest and influence?
If we don't see the list, what is the consequence? To me, you say it's a law, but to me, it's not a law.
I think the former governor of Ogun State, Benga Daniel, said some things that were very interesting. He said he expects to see technocrats on the list, but he also expects to see a lot of politicians
on the list
who worked very hard for him.
All right. And again, because of 2027.
And then don't forget that in an interview, granted, a TV station, I won't mention their name now, by the former governor of Lagos State and former minister of Works and Housing, Batunde Fashola.
Yes.
He was asked, what is the difference between President Buhari and the incoming president at that time?
Another president.
As someone who has worked with
him,
both of them. And he said, one of them, which is Buhari, does not micromanage.
Gives you the job and allows you
He gives you the job. He allows you to do the job. He doesn't ask you any question unless you come back to him again and say, sir, I'm thinking of this and that. He said the other one gives you a job. He keeps an eye on you and he tries to do the job with you, micromanage. You understand?
You on the job, yeah.
So I think that the people that, you see, that's the only hope that we have, that even when politicians make the list, if we can micromanage
them, okay,
again with the right vision for the country, otherwise there's going to be a problem. Because you see, listen, Nigerian politicians do not have any reason why they should change. Listen, what have you done to anybody? The only change we saw, and people are now referring it to change of currency, is the 2015, when Nigerians actually decided that they wanted to change the government then, and that they needed somebody, a new pair of eyes, to look at the affairs of the country. Other than that, really, you understand what I'm saying? Politicians have come to understand that you don't have to do anything for the people for the period they're in power. All you need to do is to make so much money, and then when the election comes, go there and spend the money, buy the votes, and you're back to power.
Muzzle yourself into power.
Exactly.
All right, Nuruddin, before we open the phone lines, I promise that we're going to try and open the phone lines early today, and of course take comments from our Facebook platform. I can see comments already dropping on the Facebook platform again. We're on Facebook, Mainland FM 98.3, on YouTube, Mainland 98.3 FM. It's Political Roundtable, Mainland 98.3 FM. Today we are looking at the recently passed supplementary budget, 819 billion naira, 8,000 naira to vulnerable Nigerians, households, 60 million households. I'll try and see whether we can dig up that particular list, the National Social Register, although the government is not completely clear as to which list they are going to be using.
The list they want to use, if it's the list of former humanitarian whatever, because that is the list that is on ground, or they want to use the one of the Kiamo.
One of our callers will say that disaster woman.
That one is the one, maybe it's the one, but one thing there is that President Tinubu is under pressure. We said it last week.
I don't know.
He's under pressure. No, he's under pressure.
Because again,
we know him. Wait, we know him when he was a governor. First time and second term, within 28 days, he always released his
list of commissioners. Yeah.
No, that is his own style.
But that is, maybe Folosho is saying that look, that was at the local level.
Although we know, and we've said it several times. When people say he has experience, he has never been president before. He has never been vice president before. But one of the things that is making it delay now is this: one, before the election, he promised a lot of people.
Too many promises.
He promised a lot of people. He promised those people in opposition. He promised traditional rulers. He promised his own party. Religious people. So maybe, a lot of people.
Maybe the promises were good governance, not positions.
That one thing in politics is this: if you are campaigning to me, you are campaigning to politicians. It's only ordinary Nigerians that you campaign. I'm going to give you this. But for politicians,
so
what is his stake?
The people will okay.
They are specific.
Now that one is one. Then two, his own personal interest. He always loves those people that he knows that he should work with them. But how many people will he know?
At the national level.
At the national level. That one is another. Then another headache again is this. That is so important is this. There are some certain former governors in Nigeria. They can also be president themselves. In fact, in their own enclave, they are presidents. He's facing serious challenge with those ones. Then there are some governors that work with him, especially from the northwest and northeast, that they determine what happened in their own cloud.
So even if he doesn't like
all governors in Nigeria determine what happens in their own states. All governors.
There are some certain
exception.
There are some certain governors. Their own go beyond their states. They run like 3 states together. So those governors are. Then another one again that is so jamming is this: there are some certain politicians. They are not governors. They are not senators. They are kingmakers. So there are some states that both the governor, sitting governor, former governor, the kingmakers, traditional ruler, they are fighting for the slot of one minister from their state. Because he has promised a lot of people. Those things are. Then another thing again is this: he's now using one style now that people did not know. One, if any traditional minister, any traditional rulers, because there are some top, they are also giving their list too. He will send it to the service chief, anything service chief. But he has his own list. But it's fear because I can tell you, he's looking at 2027 already.
So okay, well again,
as politicians.
So you see, and this is unfortunately there's something described by Moyo Damisa, a Gambian economist, I think graduated from Harvard, in her book Edge of Chaos. She said she described it as short-termism, which is a problem for democracy, especially in Africa. That once people are elected to an office, instead of delivering on that office, they start planning for the next time immediately because they feel that the time, allotted for them to deliver is too short. So I think he's too experienced for that. I think he knows that he needs to make impact, even though he has his eyes looking at 2027. But listen, let's tell ourselves the truth. Nobody is guaranteed tomorrow.
Yes.
As we sit here,
a politician doesn't think like
nobody is guaranteed tomorrow. Tomorrow belongs only to God.
To God, yeah.
And to those he will give it to. So my appeal to all of them is, look, use the time that you have been given to work for the Nigerian people. Please. This is the whole essence of government. It's not about loading yourself in armored vehicles with influence and power, with intimidating security men and go around the country. That's not what we want. The people want to see that incrementally their lives are changing for the better. That's all. Listen, nobody wants government to do for him or her what they can do for themselves. I don't think there's anybody in the studio who is asking government to do for us what we can do for ourselves. It is what we can do for ourselves.
And
that is the reason why we've given them all the comfort in the world. They have free housing, unlike in other parts of the world. You understand? Do you know that in Nigeria, for instance, the president is food, is clothing, and everything is paid for
4 years or 8
But do you know that does not happen in the United States? The president pays for his food and for his clothing. The only time the president will get to eat free food in his household is when he's hosting a foreign leader and there's a state banquet. But if there is no governor, even the governor's wife, whose diamonds and necklaces and golds and trinkets are bought by the governor's money, they are all from public funds.
They even have a budget for themselves.
So having given them this ultra luxury, the least we can ask of them is to please go there and help the rest of us who are not as privileged as you.
Okay.
Well,
we open the phone lines now. Political Roundtable, Mainland 98.3 FM. We have two issues on the table. 8,000 naira to 16 million households. 70 billion to the National Assembly guys.
469.
469 National Assembly guys to help their working condition. As announced, and that is minus other humongous amounts voted for luxury vehicles, armored vehicles, 2023 models, actually brand new. What you call Tiarova. So
and they are not Nigerian made.
No.
They can't be Nigerian made.
Nigerian made. You don't drop their level. All right. So we are looking at that and we are asking whether indeed we should support the call by SERAP, a social cultural, civil society organization that I think has been doing a fantastic job setting the agenda, bringing issues on the table.
We have two CSOs, SERAP and the rest.
And the rest, I think we must commend them. Like I was discussing before the show, SERAP will do all it can, go to court, get judgments, but they cannot implement. That's the best they can do as a civil society organization.
Can I even tell you how they talk about SERAP? They say, let them waste their time and
just
shout. We just do what we want to do. They don't care. They don't give a damn.
So if they know the audience with the citizens.
So we are saying that should we join SERAP in this fight, in this call that this particular supplementary budget should be reversed as fast, or should be amended, to really capture the mood of the nation, the sufferings of the people.
Can I tell you what I think? That of the National Assembly should be cancelled and added to the money that is going to the poor households.
Households.
Yes.
These guys already have humongous budget
Without stealing, they
for
have
their
a hundred
vehicles,
dollars.
for their salaries and all that. So what are we talking about?
Well,
They don't need this money.
Somebody with a secondary school certificate and in the House of Rep. The
Yeah.
first package is 24 million
Well,
naira.
they already have 228.1 billion naira budgeted for them.
That's what I'm
So-
saying. That they don't
Second
even need.
package,
They don't
24
even need.
million
naira.
They don't need this money.
Well,
Theirs should be cancelled completely,
And drive
and
it
the
back
money
to
reallocated to the people.
to
All
the
right,
other one.
well, let's hear from our listeners if they think that should happen. Like I said, we are live on Facebook, Mainland 98.3, Mainland FM 98.3. You can drop your comments. You have a lot. I'm going to read all the comments. Don't worry. But let's start taking phone calls. 09136 0000410 09136 0000410. Political Roundtable, Mainland 98.3 FM. Hello. Good evening.
Good evening, Fuad.
Good evening, sir.
Barrister Curtis, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
And my able brother,
Joseph
Olorunso,
Olorunso.
good evening.
Yeah.
Good
Yes,
evening,
sir.
sir. Good evening, sir.
Happy belated birthday. Oh.
Thank you very much, sir.
And my other brother, sir, good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Nuruddin, good evening. I want to appreciate every one of you. My name is John the Great. I'm calling from Akonjo. I want to appreciate every of the guests in the house for a brilliant submission this evening. I just want to stand on the point, the last point Barrister Curtis said. The National Assembly budget, please, should be suspended. They should pass it to Nigerians. Excuse me, what have they cut down? What have they let go to show that they are really serious about the welfare of the people? What have they consciously, deliberately do to say this thing, we want it to benefit the entire Nigerian? So much money in the National Assembly, but nothing for the citizen. Please, they should, please, if there's anything we need to do to give SERAP and every other civil society organization that bite to make sure that the National Assembly have so much pressure not to go with that budget. Nigeria needs to wake up. If they don't wake up now, what is coming in the future, they won't be able to contend with it. Good evening.
All right, thank you so much, John the Great. 09136 0000410. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Fuad.
Good evening, Obi.
Oga Curtis, Nuruddin, my party member, and my other brother, Gito.
Good evening.
You see, Fuad, I think if there was something they say in my language. I think you have dedicated yourself from Nigeria Wahala because you have spoken a lot in everyday program. You see, when we are talking of subsidy, all of us agreed we are not against it. But you see, the governors were busy saying remove. They were saying that because they were not getting funds from national posts. People thought they had sympathy for us because they wanted more money to be to come to them. That's why they want the subsidy removed. Because not that they will remove the subsidy and they will use it for our own good, so that they will share more money. You see, before the election, I was saying something about crime, religion. SERAP, whatever they're doing is on their own. If we cannot come together to have one mind, one opinion on Nigeria issues, we are wasting our time. One man just got himself burnt in Tunisia, and the whole Arab world was inflamed. But I'm not saying that we should go and make trouble. I didn't say so. But at least come in with what you see. Some people will call now and still defend because the APC is their father. Thank you very much.
Maybe they see things differently from the way you see it. It's still within their rights.
Well, for that, I listen to comments on some people that they don't understand what is happening. Because what we're eating now is the service we have. What?
All right.
At least I have some small. By next week, I don't know whether I eat it next week.
All right.
I'm telling you.
Thank you, Obi. 09136 0000410. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. You need to speak directly into your phone. You're sounding very fast.
I'm doing that. How you doing, man?
Good. Your name, sir?
Yeah, my name is Biodun.
Oh, Biodun.
How you doing, man?
Biodun, how you doing?
Yeah, Barrister Curtis. I'm cool, man. Barrister Curtis, I greet you.
Thank you.
Mr. Folonshaw and Nehru, how you doing?
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, I greet you. Quickly, during the days of Jonathan, we believe we wasted a lot of funds for this country. So we thought when Buhari was about coming in, he was going to bring a change. It became worse. Now, with the advent of our person now, and President Tinubu being in government, and we were thinking, things have to change. Well, it's like this is getting worse. Let me just end with a song. Just like you said, let me just end it. That's just the way it is. something will never change. That's just the way it
You have to
is.
change
It is, oh,
this is your remix.
Something will never change. You know what? You know what?
It must change.
Just like you said, we wouldn't want a situation whereby we'll be praying for Buhari. You understand?
We'll be missing it.
Buhari was even better. But with the way the things are going on, it's only God that can help this country. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Biodu from Ijani 091. I don't like that song. 09136.
Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening.
This is Olaiwola from Nigeria.
Olaiwola, please.
You see the issue, let me put where the last caller say. To be sincere with you, a time will come in Nigeria, we use touch in the afternoon to find Buhari, but we cannot see him. We run our touch, but we cannot see Buhari again.
We will be looking forward to look for Buhari in the afternoon.
Yes, we on the touch. It's not in the night. Not that we are in the darkness, but we see the sunlight, but we still on time to look for Buhari. But based on this government projection or what they call it, the palliative for the National Assembly is a criminal against humanity. If those people that are leading us and they say the presiding officer over there, they are Christian, what is the difference between the Christian and the Muslim and the pagan within them? Now, the Labour Party did not come outside today to tackle the government in power because they are benefiting from the 70 billion.
Everybody's in bed.
NMPP did not come outside today, and PDP did not come outside because of they benefited from it. The criminal they are committed, their generation will face it. A time we call a poor man will become the ruler of this country, and their children are going to be a poor. Well, that is my submission this evening.
Well, funny thing, Olaiwola, a lot of our leaders are actually children of the poor in the past who benefited from what you can call good governance years back.
They don't throw away the
issue on ground is that we are not building based on the future. We are only building because of the moment. Let me, the other opportunity come, let me seize it at this moment. And that is where the problem always. And we are saying that public accounts have to be transparent. Let the people see how that money spending, how you people generating this thing. The organ of the National Assembly are never generating any money for the national account. They are just attracting from the other source of the government, paying them. But they didn't generate any money, and they are collecting this big money. It's a criminal against humanity.
Well, I don't think they are supposed to generate money. They're just supposed to make laws that will better the lives of the people.
A time will come, we want the touch in the afternoon to look for Buhari.
I still don't understand that analogy, but thank you, Olaiwola. Using touch to look for someone in the afternoon.
Yes, and we're going to use him seriously.
Thank you, Olaiwola.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Sadiq, this is Kayode from Abeokuta.
Yes.
Fuad, sorry.
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I greet our guests, Nuruddin, Barrister Curtis, and Mr. Joseph. Good morning. Good evening.
Good evening,
sir.
Yeah. You see, I think what I'm seeing here, we go along with the fact that we are under some kind of organized crime. Just like the first person that took off the mic. Yes, that's Barrister Curtis. Thank you. You see, what I am seeing here is that if anybody is coming to tell me that, yes, I want a Senate that we can probably be friendly and then see the reason why we must work together. After all, we have three arms of government that must work. They will not fight, probably being seen fighting each other. But you must go for the purpose of those people that probably voted for you to go into that place. But what they are doing, I think, is satanic, evil. And I was quick to even mention that what's the spelling of senator? Is it not S-E-N-A-T-O-R? But I'm seeing a kind of S-I-N here, senators. Are you with me? Because they have continued to probably put us in a kind of a corner, box us into a corner that we want to be seen as being depending on them every other time, at every 4 years or 8 years. After all, if you are a governor and then you have served, what other things are you looking for in that position? And for that matter, I think I want to join the SERAP that 70 billion naira should be converted to alongside with that of 500 billion naira for the people. And even that one is not even worth it at all.
All right, thank you.
Does it mean that you cannot do refinery, at least take some money to do refinery for?
Thank you so much, Kelly. 091360041. Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening to everybody in the house.
You need to speak up. So I think
good evening to everybody in the house.
Yes.
Good evening, sir.
You have Solomon on the line.
Yes, Solomon. I saw you do this.
We thank God.
Yes.
I wonder why everyone is surprised. Why should we be surprised in the first place? I don't think that this topic should be a topic as far as I'm concerned. I've said it time without number. You know, when you confine money matter, there's no opposition. There's no opposition. Sometimes people say, this one is the best party. This one is here. Which one is here? And I've said this time without number. Even during the time of Buhari, have you ever seen PDP senator rejecting huge allowance? No. Even the new era that we call the new party, Labour, did they reject it? They collect it with their two hands. Not only not with one hand first, two hands. Look, I've said it down with that number. Oh, I'm ashamed of the shame. In fact, the situation of this country, presently, I don't see this country moving forward with the kind of people that we have presently. All the politicians, the good people are not ready to play that politics. They are not ready to involve themselves in politics. And we want the country to move forward. We are joking. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Solomon. I hope that one day the joke.
I think Nigerians should understand and build a consensus around the expectation from Labour Party. Okay. Labour Party is not an ideological group of people. It was just a collection of individuals. I mean, from different political parties.
So people should just drop their expectations.
Don't forget about that.
The whole thing is just, I think some Nigerians wanted a change, and that was why
they saw the Labour Party
had a traction. You know, so all this whole idea about expecting something different from Labour Party. I mean, amuses me each time I hear people talk about Labour Party.
Okay, all right. Let's take these messages from Facebook. Let's go to our Facebook platform. We have Abiodun Benjamin Ajiboye, who is saying, why saying, bro? We have Benson Richie, who is saying, good evening, everybody in the house. And then we have Abiodun Benjamin Ajiboye, who say, you see our leaders went there for themselves and not for the masses. Ogechuku Samson, that's the reason why they don't want somebody who will call the cost of governance. Nigeria with LD. We have this message from Dayo Dada. We say, good evening, crew. The foundation of a good leader is known by his character, attitude, selflessness, transparency, easily accessible, giving policies that will move from consumption to production. I assume this is one of the obedience. Cutting cost of governance from top to bottom, creating policies that will change people's life positively. I'm trying to, it's putting too many things here. But I think 50 years backwards, truly we are, I'm really struggling with this dial. You need probably to really put this up. Summarize it.
It's angry.
Well, the matter say read to get somebody
it's
confused.
Angry.
We have Kyle. We say, good evening, gentlemen. Well thought of Joseph Olonshaw. Our level of summoning courage to fight fears and pains meted us as a people by those who got to the leadership by legitimate means or illegitimate means. I asked, is it because we lack self-confidence to fight the spirit of dependency? I give kudos to SERAP. I joined SERAP to ask for reversal, fast, and why that 70 billion for 2023 bulletproof cars and all of that. Please read somewhere also that the Senate allegedly padded the supplementary budget, true or false. Well, there have been issues of padded budget. I don't know whether this was padded. We have this message from Ademu Abdullahi. Good evening to all of you. Take it or leave it. Nigeria can't be finished already, and there's nothing we can do to change the situation. What concerns me now is how to struggle and make life meaningful for myself. We have this from Patrick Obiazo, who is saying that I've always maintained that the National Assembly under Akpabio, if it will last, will be worse than Amela One's rubber stamp assembly under Buhari. Akpabio is a flamboyant, allegedly corrupt yes man who is beholden to a dictator, Tinubu, and will be worse than a rubber stamp. On the ministerial list, nothing is delaying nothing. We already know the character of face of the cabinet. They deliberately chose to delay it till even the last day to avoid room for scrutiny and discussion from the citizen, just like the fuel subsidy removal announcement.
Can I say something?
Yes.
I think Nigerians also need to understand that the leadership of the National Assembly, and I'm talking about the Speaker, the deputy speaker,
Senate president, deputy Senate
president. These are individuals. If other members of the Senate are men of character, Akpabio alone cannot pass any law.
Cannot decide what happens at the house.
The same thing goes for the house.
It's a game of numbers.
Yeah, look, listen, they can even shut down their leadership. So
they can even impede the Senate.
It is simply because
they can even remove it.
You know what has been happening? These guys are not profiles in courage, and that's exactly what you see.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with the leadership. If the national, let it be issue of their personal funding today, and let the president of the Senate say no.
Cancel it. Or let's just say the Senate president is listening to us.
Yes.
As we are deliberating and calling for the reversal of that 70 billion.
Yes.
And then he goes on the floor of the Senate tomorrow and announce that look, after listening to people, I am proposing that
he will come out of that place as Senate president.
No, for you know, the time of Saraki,
yes.
I think it was Alu Dume.
Yes.
He said they conduct Senate president election 20 times. The Saraki will still win that seat because he has the backing of the Senate.
Now,
all the impeachment.
And the way he's even passing it, they will first of all go on plenary.
Yes.
They will not immediately they come back from closed door session like this.
The thing will happen.
They palm everything.
You know the funny. Now this guy just reminded me. Thank you. I hope you watched the debate of 500 billion that was shared before this government came into power.
Yes.
Or was shared after the government came into power.
Yeah.
Where Alain Dume was saying, I was the guy behind this whole thing, and my people got only 1%.
And I was serious.
That is outside of the 500 billion we're talking about now. You hear these billions flying everywhere, and yet the lives of the common people, the ordinary people,
still the same.
Still the same. Nothing has changed for them.
All right, we'll take more calls, and then I go back to taking messages from our Facebook platform. 091-3600-410. 091-3600-410. Hello, good evening.
A very good evening to the family in the studio.
Good evening, Prince Wise.
May God bless all of you and bless your management.
Amen.
You see, this evening, when we are talking of this type of democracy, the mistake made in 1979, where we have our America, they did not see that this democracy is too expensive and turn up with corruption. Now, the National Assembly, what is their input to the progress of this country? If I can rate them, they are just below 10%. I voted for Tinubu to govern Nigeria. I don't want the National Assembly to his program. When somebody talk of Saraki, the people for Nigeria, he want to destroy his party before going back to where he comes from. And today, see the faculty. When you betray, it will backfire. Now, we will never said about the ministerial that is with the EFCC and the ICPC and the DSS.
We only have reports, nothing confirmed from the presidency.
What we have been reading is that the ministerial is with the EFCC and DSS.
Prince Wise, reports, not just when you read stories from the papers, you say sources.
Did you see my name
when you see unnamed sources giving reports,
but
we can't work with that.
Like I said, there is no list for
what
now.
I read from professional newspaper and the president never denied whether it's with them or not.
The president, this is Prince Wise. The president does not need to deny it. But what we are saying is that we cannot work with unnamed sources giving us information.
Okay,
yes.
I hear you. Okay. But as of now, I saw the manner of hotel. As well as we give for better, reputable, standard ministerial list for forest of the poor. No way. The National Assembly $70 billion to be reduced or cancelled, and all this money should be deferred to that stand pronouncement about agriculture, and I want to do that for please.
I'm with you,
it will be good for that part of politics. We let foreign people come in just for only 6 months into this country. That part of politics too.
All right.
Transportation.
Thank you, Prince Wise. You have always proposed that. Prince Wise have always proposed.
Take more
Okay.
Good evening, sir. Everybody in the studio.
Yeah. Good evening.
All right. My name is Sunday, calling from Ilupeju.
Please go on.
All right. I've been listening to you guys, and you are doing a wonderful job in that office. But if you look at what's happening in this country today, the government has paid everybody. And then the NSC also has also paid, TUC as well, has paid every one of us. I think the way out now is what we should be looking for. And I, for one, is suggesting that it's only the university students that can, help us in this situation. How do I mean?
Okay.
They are powerful in this country as well, the university students. I think the federal university should go and block every entrance that leads to, the federal houses. All right? While the state universities as well should go and block every entrance that leads to state offices.
Assembly.
By this time, if they can do that, then the federal government, the state government will know that they can't take us again for granted, because we have been suffering, and we are the one that voted them into that offices that they are enjoying all the welfare allowances. So that is the way I think we can come out of this mess. I mean, the poor market.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sunday. Again, when we talk about university students, I remember I was talking to one of our staff here, and he was talking about NANS, the National Nigerian Students.
How many NANS do you have in Nigeria
now? The funny thing again is this: even NANS had visited the president and given him solidarity.
It's not even about that. The politicians, the way they've turned
Let me tell you a story.
Yes.
I sat in my office one day. I received a letter
from NANS.
From NANS.
To give you an award.
They want to give me an award.
I'm sure they have not ever met you.
And when I went through what they said about me, I looked around to see whether I was the one. Because, I mean, some of the...
what is it they wrote there?
Yes, I mean, I can't relate.
From the same NANS.
No, so I called the guy who signed the letter and I said, I got this letter from you guys and you say you want to give me an award.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I won't be taking the award because I can't even relate with the things you wrote about me. I didn't do any of those things. And he said, no, it's not something like all you needed to do is just send us something small. It's promotion and all that.
But Sako, let me share my own story. Again, I was a student union activist in school. So and I knew that at that time, yes. You know what activism was, It was not anything about luxury.
Yes.
When you talk about Luther, you see student union leaders in rickety buses, struggling to push it and even make it work. That was the beauty of unionism at that time. Recently, I was driving in the streets of Lagos, and just ahead of me, I saw a convoy of cars. And I was trying to get clues, luxury cars, Lexus, the big brands. And I saw presidency. So my mind was, these politicians are at it again. So I got close to them. And just below the presidency on the plate numbers, NANS 1, NANS 2,
of course,
NANS 3. These are supposed to be students. Special numbers. And already imbibing the mentality of the same politicians that are telling them to tackle.
It's a culture.
Yeah.
Now, I was going to make a correction to what Prince Wise said.
Yes.
That the democracy we imported from America is a corrupt one. I hope you understand that the American democracy is not corrupt.
Because it's working for their own people.
And that most public officers in America are not corrupt.
And held accountable.
Now, the problem with ours is that what we took is not even what we are practicing.
It's our own version.
It's our own version. Because look at it, for instance.
Yes.
In America, you don't have an overwhelming power that the president of the Senate has got in Nigeria here. Yes. In fact, the vice president doubles as the president of the Senate.
In the United States.
In the absence of the vice president, the majority leader controls the Senate,
yes.
And then the Senate president pro tempore, who just sits there, the oldest member of the party with the majority in that
assembly.
In that assembly. Now, you also don't have an active deputy speaker in the House. You have a speaker, you have majority leader, you have minority leader.
Other principal officer.
Okay? Now, when you're talking about we taking their democracy, the United States has 50 states. And they have a population of over 300 million. Yes. Yet they have only 20 cabinet ministers.
Only 20 cabinet ministers.
Yes, and they have only 100 senators.
And each federative state have their own...
Add it that their own president, the head of their own executive arm, was not the one that mastermind the person that will be the head of the legislative.
Of course.
And each federative unit also have their own independence.
No,
they have state
in fact, their system is such that the leaders of the party that before the party went into election are bound to majorly, almost always all the time are bound to emerge. except the caucus of the party,
Party.
decides to change. Look at what happened in the case of Kevin McCarthy,
Yes.
where they had to vote so many times,
Almost 70-something times.
for him to emerge as speaker. So it has nothing. We copied, but we pasted wrongly.
No, we didn't copy. We borrowed that.
And with this type of politicians, if we use parliamentary system of government, it's going to even worse.
Well,
And this kind of politicians,
anyways, by Prince Wise, I
No,
understand.
but we had parliamentary system before they say it wasn't working,
Yes,
and they
and
went
we-
for this one.
And I must say, this is not what America is practicing.
No,
Let us-
no.
All right, 091-3600-410. 091-3600-410. Hello, good evening.
Hello?
Yeah, good evening. Please speak up, sir.
Hello, good evening.
You are still sounding very far.
Okay, this is Shoes from Igondo.
Okay, Chooks, please go on.
Yeah, good evening, everybody.
Choose Kedu.
My brother, what I will say now may sound somehow in everybody.
This is radio. Let's just calm down, eh?
I know. Can somebody agree with me that the reason why Nigeria is suffering is because of Yoruba people?
No.
I just
Chooks, drink water. Drink water.
I just said this
Take
is
a mirror.
radio.
Take a mirror.
I don't know. I knew that something was going to happen. You know, but again, I think that's an opinion that.
Hello.
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening,
Yes, good evening.
and good evening to everybody in the studio.
We greet you.
Thank you, sir. I want to appreciate your work, and I want to thank that barrister that answered Prince Wire's question.
Your name and
Thank you
location
for-
first.
Thank you, sir.
I'm
Thank you, sir.
Austin from Ojo.
Austin. Okay, please go on.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, I want to ask, what are the elite doing in this matter? What are they doing? Are the elite of 2012, are they gone on SI? Then two, what are the labor unions also doing?
They are negotiating their own pay.
Yeah, are they also gone on SI fighting for the people like in the days of Adam Oshumole before he was compromised? Then the fifth one, the third one is that what are the media, the broadcaster? Because if all
We are doing our job here.
because me too will support you guys with any length to stop the National Assembly in this mess. What if they come together to use that money to feed the economy? Can't the president say, okay, as they go off the road, I am bringing down my allowance, everybody should do this, and let's all face this thing
All right,
as a
Austin.
family and as a country. That's my question. Thank you very much.
Too many questions. I think a lot of them rhetorical, I assume. All right, 091-3600-410. Let's take two more calls and then I go back to taking messages from our Facebook platform. Hello, good evening.
So, good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening.
My name is Engineer Fatih Afakere from Ejigbo Ogun State.
Engineer Fakere, good evening, sir.
Well done, my brother. I've been listening to your programs.
Yes, sir.
Let's say 30 minutes back. I pray for you, all the people who are going with you, more knowledge and more wisdom.
Amen.
So this country, me, I don't even understand what is going on. And everybody knows. This government, present government, I think this one is continuity government. Because before Bola Tinubu, we voted for him to be president. We heard that Buhari was to go and borrow $500 million.
$800 million from the World Bank.
$800 million.
It has been approved now.
To give to 12 million people.
10 million
That is
then.
poor.
10 million then. Now 12
10 million there. How can they know the people that are poor among those 200 million people in Nigeria? This one is a scam. You understand me now? And those the people in the National Assembly, they don't even talk about their own how they will support this government. They are telling us to be patient that without pain there's no gain. What of their own people that they National Assembly? What is they are satisfied to this government to move forward? All they are doing, they are fighting for position. I want to be a principal this thing. Please, let's go, and as I'm talking now, I don't want anybody, all Nigeria should not support this this money they are going to take their own.
All right, thank you, Engineer Fakir.
Please.
Yeah. We'll take more calls and then we'll take Facebook messages. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, my name is Victor.
You need to speak up, Victor. You are sounding very fast.
I say my name is Victor.
Oh, I know you, Victor. You are the man, Victor. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, now, Victor. Hello, Victor. All right. I said we just take messages from Facebook.
He wanted to introduce himself.
No, I know Victor. Victor is a troublemaker. I know him very well. All right, we have on Facebook here Shepherd Wednesday. We're saying, good evening, beloved people. Keep talking. Who knows whether political jobbers will listen and keep talking to know if Nigerians will rise and take their country back. I suspect it's an obedience. Olumuyiwa Oludude is saying the cost of governance in Nigeria is too high, ranging from ministerial to the day-to-day running of governance. The new administration should lead by example in cutting down governmental costs to reduce the national body. The ministerial list should be square pegs in square holes, the right ministers. And we have Benson Ritchie who is saying before we get these things right, the right leadership must be in the office, in the political office, because the way things are going, I don't see anything changing in Nigeria. Then we have Akibo Bola who is saying it is unfortunate that ministerial positions have become a place for enrichment. We have never gotten a leader. All we have are power mongers who don't feel what the masses are going through. Fuel subsidy never existed. All we have are a group of people wearing themselves from the resources we have. We also have this from Unwodo Austin is always talking about IKDC keeping Iyewo Estate in Akeson in total darkness. I think he sent that message last week too. Well, IKDC, if you are listening, there's this particular estate in Akeson, Iyewo Estate. They are begging you to please bring their transformer back. And then we have this from Basil Chika, who is saying supplementary budget proposal and subsequent approval by the Senate is to wear the ground for President Tinubu to settle all that needed to be settled. And that is why you are seeing all this jostling in and outside the villa. Tell me what less than 300 naira will do to a household in a day for just 6 months. And what happened afterwards? Nigerians ain't seen nothing. That's Chika Bende from Trade Fair, Lagos.
Exactly. And that's for only 6 months.
So, again, 09136000410. 09136000410. Yes.
You know what one of the things that I cannot wrap my head around is how any human being living in this country today we sit down and conclude that 8,000 a month,
not a week.
I bought.
You're thinking of the thinking pattern. What could have informed that thinking pattern?
How do they process information? Is it without any level of emotion? Let me tell you, like I wrote, I bought full tank 49,000.
No, they said, the guy replied immediately that they are not talking to you.
Yes, but I'm talking to myself. He doesn't have to talk to me.
The government is not talking to you.
I know.
But the government is supposed to work for me.
Yes,
so
I know.
Nigerian,
I'm also in Nigeria. I know how much I was buying fuel before.
Yeah.
I don't work for the government. I've never earned money from the government. Okay? But the point I'm trying to make is that if I use myself as an example of a poor man, and I'm struggling now, today the middle class has been wiped out.
Yes, it's either
you're either rich or you are poor. And if you are talking about poverty, again, the data that exists says that majority of Nigerians are poor people.
133 million,
are living in poverty.
multidimensional
And
poverty.
so, if the government, you see, this is what people don't understand. One of the critical functions of leaders is allocation of resources
for the betterment of the people.
Yes.
That's why they sit in the intersection, okay, of all the groups. There's something called Gini coefficient, which is reducing the level, the difference between the
to create an egalitarian society.
A society whereby there is shared prosperity, there's inclusiveness, but we somehow tend to think in this part of the world.
Reverse is the case here.
The reverse is so. Look, the man who sits in a government house. We keep talking about National Assembly, but we're not talking about the executives.
I don't know that one.
You understand? Do you know that there is no government house in Nigeria that they don't slaughter a cow weekly? I'm telling you this. And do you know the funny thing? the constitution says we have 36 states, right? That constitution provides that no state house of assembly should have less than 24 members. Multiply that by 36. And then you talk about their age and how the governors had to water the ground for bills to be passed at state level.
So look at the cost of governance. If you break it down.
Look, okay. The former governor of Rivers State, do you remember the number of SAs and PAs?
I think
he appointed.
He first did 100, he did 200.
200, 300. He
Okay.
now uploaded it again. Every word.
Now, what is Labour doing in all of this? They said, no, we don't want palliatives. Increase our salaries. How many Nigerians are civil servants? You can make the argument that, okay, they have dependents. But if you take the number of civil servants in this country and add their dependents,
it's still not.
Dependents. So what is the number? He said, this is why we have problem in this part of the world. That people find it difficult to live for causes that are greater than themselves.
All right, we'll take more calls. I think we're fast running out of time. 091-360004.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, everybody. It's Toyo.
Your name, sir, and your location. Let's be very fast now. Yeah.
My name is Iliamino Usman. I'm calling from Ikorodu.
Iliamino, please go on.
Yes, sir. You people are doing the great job. And I always keep trying to listen to your program.
Thank you.
But in this country, we are sleeping. Why I say that? In fact, stop laughing. No, I'm not serious. I'm not joking.
Iliamino.
I'm from Zamfara State.
Oh, from Zamfara. Okay, yes.
Right? So I face a lot of things that it don't reach the extent that I the act of myself. Why even any other tribe is calling me Aboki? Why we are all Aboki?
I thought Aboki is a friend.
Yeah, but
literally. Aboki na be my friend. That is the complete sentence.
Yeah.
Aboki means something else.
Yeah.
But Aboki is the correct definition. Abokina is the correct definition, right? You get me?
I get you, Liamino.
We people have a lot of evidence. Which you know, I know. Everybody hearing me know. But why we can't face it? But there is one problem. If you want...
Liamino, you have to be very fast, so we are running out of time.
Okay, if you want to judge this matter, before you want to control someone to be doing good, you ask yourself, challenge yourself. So we have to put ourselves into this way in order to face this government, to ask them why things be like this.
All right. Thank you, Liamino. We don't have all the time. All right, thank you so much, Liamino. I think we got your point. Let's just take Facebook messages and then we'll close the show by taking maybe one or two calls and then, of course, allow our analysts to conclude on the show with their thoughts. We have Dio Dada. He said, good evening, crew. With the APC governance in Nigeria from local to federal government is what is called one chance. From controversial election to subsidy removal to rubber stamp Senate and House of Reps to on presidential taxes to then loan now billions of naira and dollars to the boys, confusing you with palliatives for people like Adebantu said, loyalty na cash and carry. Objection and mortuary. Everybody get agenda with their mercenary enterprise. It's a big shame. The judiciary is on trial. They need to get it right, or else we are in hot water. Well, we have Sule Aisabedo, who is saying we have had enough of talking without any action. It's time to invade the National Assembly, otherwise we'll continue to lament. Well, I think protest is enshrined in our constitution, but it has to be peaceful. We have AGK Towers, who is saying Fuhad, democracy handed power to elect good people into our political offices, but we choose to sacrifice our democracy in the altar of ethnicity and religion, and then
and money.
Well, religion and money. Okay, with that, I think we'll just close the show by taking maybe 2 or 3 more calls, and then allow you to close the show with your thoughts. Hello, good evening. 091-36000410.
Good evening.
Good evening. The matter self get us. Good evening.
Okangbelina.
Oh, Mr. Okangbelina, how you doing?
Yeah, somebody was talking of wicked that he hired about 200
special assistants.
Benayade of Cross River State, the grammarian. He had 7,008. That's what he did. Go and check.
Yes.
How much?
They don't talk. Okay, but let's go back to the National Assembly. You think they will just be signing all those things or nothing? No. That is why they have 70 billion for themselves. How can you bring something for me to sign and just because you will not give me my own share? That 70 billion is their share. That's what you should know. And that's what was happening during Lawan day. All those things Lawan was signing, was getting his own cut.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kangbelina. He said it's their share. Well, they're supposed to serve the people. They are representatives of the people and should be more concerned about the welfare of the people. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Please turn down the volume of your radio.
Hello.
Hello, good evening. Yes.
Yes, this is Felix from the cartoon.
Sorry, the name again.
Felix.
Felix, please, you need to reduce the volume of your radio. Or stay away from it. Move away from it.
Okay, Felix from the cartoon.
All right, please go on, Felix.
I'm very grateful to the analyst. People have tried a lot. The problem we are having in Nigeria now, we don't have civil society, no activists again. I can remember in 90s, we have activists, just like Ganifa way in me. The Fem Falana is still living now, like Sholari and the rest, even Bole to Bani. You understand? They will put government on the toes. But now, they are all politicians, no activists again. Those bodies can take the battle to the government and talk against the government. They are all politicians. They are all politicians now. That's the point we are having. Right. No opposition against this government.
Felix, thank you so much, Felix from the court. So,
yes.
All right.
Yes.
I think we have a number of activists. Falano is still talking. SERAP is doing a wonderful job.
They are not doing enough. They are not doing enough. They are not doing enough. You cannot compare them with a Ganifa with me.
The issue we have a novelty, but we don't have a list. It's just people that don't want to list. Are we not talking now?
They are all politicians. They are not talking. You used to let you know. I remember when Tony magazine, when the public said Babagba have this account in the Sudan. I know what happened.
All right.
From Nigeria. Yes, sorry.
Thank you, Felix. We understand you. We understand you completely. God bless you.
They are politicians.
All right. Hello, good evening. Hello.
All right. Hello, good evening. Now, Victor, come back.
Oh, Victor, what's happening now?
Now my credit finished.
Now my catch you. Oh, yeah, talk.
Sorry, all the money that National Assembly they will give them. The president did he sign any of the money that did he approve it? Did he pass through his table?
No, it's a budget now. Although the supplementary budget from last year. So what happened was just that it was rejected again. Yeah.
Is it that's for some 70 billion? Is it per person or the whole National Assembly?
Per person can 1 kilo. Now the whole house. It's the whole house, no be per person.
I have told you. When I talk someone, they should be better. You are seeing what you are saying now. Somebody say something and you cut that person off. I'm telling you, all these things we are fighting for a particular region of Nigeria. They have seen this thing for a very long time.
But Victor, the house as is presently composed.
I know.
It's not just calm down.
Wow,
the National Assembly has everybody from different parts of the country.
Know. Yeah. All these things, the presidents, I know if the man say no, they may maybe remove them, but we need a different set of people. I'm telling you.
Okay.
From the election time. I mean, I've told you some one Sunday. The first Sunday after Fred was removed, I said, blessed is the person that do not believe in this government, for they shall not be disappointed. They don't believe in them.
All right, thank you. Well, that will be the last call for the evening because he said, blessed is. Well, I think we should just have to continue to keep hope alive. We have to continue to hope for the best, you know. Barrister Curtis Adigba, your final take on the show this evening.
Well, I don't know what to say really. All I can say is that
the matter get as it is.
All the people in power should please take a thought for the poor of this country. Them and their children and family members are not better than the others. The only difference is the positions
define themselves.
And they should take a thought for them, because you see, until the ordinary Nigerian can go to bed and sleep, with all their security they cannot sleep. And that's the truth. We say in my place that the child that says the mother will not sleep The child also will not sleep. For those of us we're on the ground, we don't fear the ground anymore.
That is, yeah. Well, all right. Joseph Falorunsho, your final thought on the show.
Yeah, Fuad, I think I want to appeal that we should equally beg the governors too.
The governors,
yes, the governor need to, whatever the president will be doing, if the governors are not complementing whatever Abuja will be doing,
you're just wasting time.
We are just wasting our, because Nigeria governors to some extent they are in a very serious holiday. I've never, since they've resumed now, I don't see any governor that have his cabinet ready. So then are they waiting for the president or what?
You're taking a lead.
So I think that one. Then the other one just an appeal for you to help me. For me beg a federal authority of Nigeria.
Fine, you have a serious issue.
I have serious issue. I live in Ajawa State. I cannot be paying 12,000 naira for ticket every month. I don't have. How will you just adjust the toll gate, the portal from the toll gate down to MM2? You haven't put any surface to just go there and adjust toll fee that our life is better than that.
Maybe because subsidy is gone. All right, do it in Adigbin Road.
Well, to me,
yes.
all the politicians, starting from councillor, local government chairman, governors, president, national assembly, they should let the poor person, let them breathe.
Okay, well, I think the president was the one that said it, that let the poor breathe. And I think I want to join join in that call too, for us to allow the poor breathe. But I'm going to, again, the same message I'm going to give to our president, and that's my personal message to him, that look, he should try to build a political legacy. He should not think of trying to build a political empire. We had past president who tried it and it failed. It would also fail this time. My name is Sahid Fuhad. This is where we call it a day on the show, Political Roundtable, Mainland 98.3 FM. Do have a blessed week ahead.